Welcome to the Caerusnet Podcast. One of the things that I really love about doing Caerusnet podcasts are being able to spend time with people that really kind of accentuate what does it mean to be a Caerusnet member, both in terms of energy, participation, and action. And that person today is Barbara Zinser. She's the three-time Caerusnet MVP of her Caerusnet Ann Arbor 1 o'clock team. And I just have to say this little inside joke between Barbara and myself. Uh, I think you've got as many now as Carl Gunderson did. So he was really excited about those MVPs. So you've got the Gunderson. So, hey, I've got with me today Barbara Zinser. She's our amazing real estate agent, again, on the Ann Arbor Tuesday 1 o'clock team. And she's a three-time MVP. And Barbara, thanks for being here today.
Steve, I'm excited.
Well, the fun thing about today's world is that we can all do business in Ann Arbor, but doesn't mean we necessarily have to be present there to do it. You're in Florida right now, just for a little winter getaway. I made the move years ago permanently to Southern Arizona and run my CirrusNet meetings in Michigan. So thank goodness for the blessings of these video technology and ways for people to communicate. So that's cool about today, but it wasn't like this when you and I first met many, many years ago in Ann Arbor when you were first introduced to me in CirrusNet. So if anybody that's been watching these podcasts for any length of time knows that I like to go down memory lane and acknowledge the people that paid it forward and shared CirrusNet, I want to talk about how you found out about CirrusNet, who is responsible for bringing us you, our awesome MVP.
All right, well, that's an easy question to answer. And I still remember it was 11 years ago, Steve. 11 years I am a member. And it was Dave Norton. Dave Norton was the branch manager of TCF Bank, and that's where I did our family banking. And so one day I happened to go to the door, and there was a sandwich board there that said, do you like referrals, or would you like to receive referrals? Would you like to grow your business? And I'm like, what the heck is that? So I went in and I saw Dave, and I said, could you tell me what that's about? And coincidentally, you happen to have just ended a meeting that day when I walked in. So talk about serendipitous. He introduced me to you, and then you kindly invited me to one of the meetings to see what it was all about, and I was hooked. And that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, pretty wild. And you think about 11 years ago in our lives as being a long time ago, but it really just seems like yesterday. I mean, just amazing how fast the time flies when you're connected with so many very active and busy people and fun personalities. So yeah, hey, Dave Norton, thank you for sharing CirrusNet and bringing us Barbara Zinser. We'll always be indebted to you and your awesome efforts. Dave was great in CirrusNet. So hey, but now we are doing CirrusNet on Zoom. And you've just done phenomenally with it. So what I wanted to do right now is just kind of talk about you and your real estate business. You're in Ann Arbor, and Ann Arbor, is a very specific marketplace. It's not a little small town, lots of moving parts to Ann Arbor. So maybe you could do me a favor and share with the audience your position as a real estate agent. Who is Barbara Zinser? Who's your ideal client? And maybe what are things that you're doing in real estate that maybe not every agent is. So if somebody's listening to this and go, oh, I'm going to reach out to Barbara for that thing when the time is right. So let's go ahead and have that discussion.
Sure. So I have been with the Charles Reinhart Company, celebrating 18 years with the company, and I am a residential real estate agent. So although my license, they tell me I could do commercial transactions, I would be lost. So do not call upon me for anything commercial, but residential, I have a great deal of experience in now. Anything from helping people to rent. I have some clients that are investors, so they sometimes come back to me and ask me, can I help them to find a tenant for a property that they have? I have people who obviously are buyers, sellers, and I oftentimes just say that, real estate is all about life events. And so, who's my ideal client? Well, it could be, that student who's now leaving home and going out to, find their first place. It's that first time home buyer. It's the buyer that's moving up. It's somebody who's getting married, somebody who's had a divorce, somebody who's had babies. I mean, there is not an opportunity that I can think of that doesn't involve a real estate transaction. I mean, it could be parents who pass away. I mean, it's part of life. And so real estate is it's just embedded in everything. And so it could be people, like I said, that are moving up. But sometimes, when we reach that top, then it's like, okay, well, do I really need all of this? The kids are gone, I've got this big house, and maybe I just want a lifestyle change. And that's where I'm in because I am a senior. And so, do I need the big house anymore? Maybe I want to live in a condo downtown. And so I think there's this misperception of seniors that we only think about, well, they need to go into an assisted living community. And I'm like, heck no, I'm not going. But would I like a second property, a vacation home? That's something I could help with. Would you like to sell that home, take all of the money and the equity that you built in that, and then transfer it to something else? You got grandkids you want to put through college. I mean, that home that you have, you may not even realize has gotten so high in value and appreciated. So think about how you might want to spend that money that you're sitting there and again, the house may be too big. It's too much yard. There's too much stuff going on. And, make life simple. So those are my people. My people can be anyone, really.
Well, one of the things that I've noted by being your facilitator is that you always are involved in additional skill set development as a real estate agent. You're also looking for different certifications and ways that you can stand out and better understand your clients and provide the highest value. And I know that not every real estate agent goes through all of the learning that you go through. What motivates you to do all of that?
I'm sure I'm curious. I'm a curious person. So learning is something that I find interesting. Every day, can I get up? Can I learn something new today? What's that going to be? What is that nugget going to do for me? Not only today, but how am I going to apply it in my life? And so, this whole thing about becoming a senior, I thought, well, you know what? I need to know what every senior needs to know. And so I have now found out different housing opportunities that exist. There's something called co-housing that I think is very interesting. And then there's rentals and there are senior apartments and there is just a whole host of opportunities that are out there. And somebody may need to know if they want to move in with their family's out of state, they miss those grandkids. I can help with that too because Reinhart has a division that is a relocation division, and we're part of the leading real estate companies of the world. And with that, we can, help you to find a place wherever you want to be, locally, globally, and we will just connect to someone who is in that locale that is knowledgeable and strong in their business, similar to what you would find with the Charles Reinhart Company. So yeah, it's those things. I also got a designation as a accredited buyer's representative
Mm.
because I felt that the industry was changing a little bit and that buyers needed strong representation. So I made sure I learned what it was like to specifically work with buyers. And then I got one more credential, which was a certification for negotiating.
Mm.
I mean, if there's one thing that you need to do well in real estate, it's to negotiate well on behalf of your client. And so I wanted to strengthen that muscle as well.
Yeah, I think that that's probably one of the biggest areas that people miss is the value of having a great real estate agent who's also really a great negotiator and one who's looking out for the best interest of the client, not just to get the thing to the closing table, but to get it to the closing table in the most fair and expedited way. And I know personally, knowing how you pay attention to detail, I think that you'd be a phenomenal person in that position because you don't miss anything.
Well, Steve, believe it or not, every November I give away pies to my clients, and I see each year the very first person I ever sold a home to. So if you're looking for an agent who really sticks with you and helps you through life changes, I'm here. I'm here. I'm watching babies being born. I'm watching people move up, move out, and all sorts of stuff. And I love it.
So let's talk about the Caerusnet experience. Thank you again for being such an awesome MVP for 11 years as well too. There has to be something that's working for you in there for you to stick with us and to keep doing this at the high level in which you do. And my hope is that you might have maybe one or two if you've got time, but is there a success story? Something that really kind of rises to the surface if I were to ask you either about a referral or a relationship, something of that nature in regards to your Cirrusnet experience. Which one would that be, or what would those be that you could highlight for us?
Well, I was going to say the one that jumped out at me immediately was another CirrusNet member, and she is my strongest referral partner, and that's Sierra White with Flagstar Bank. And Sierra goes the extra mile as a bank manager. I will tell you, she knows the clients that come in there. And you know what? I go into my branch and I conduct my business, but there isn't really anyone who's asking me more about what's happening in my life. Do I need help with anything? And Sierra goes that extra mile. And as such, she finds out when somebody is interested in purchasing a home. And so she connects them to me immediately. And so one of the more recent closings that I had was someone that she sent my way, first time home buyers. They didn't think that they were going to be able to afford a home. Well, we found a home. Flagstar financed their mortgage for them. We got to the closing table, Steve, and the client was actually crying. She was so moved and so emotional over the fact that she was now a homeowner. So,
Yeah, I mean, what a huge
how's that for
win.
a story?
Yeah, what a huge win for both of you and Sierra White. Again, when you've got a team like the Ann Arbor team, you've got maybe a little bit more sophisticated than most at their role in business. So, Sierra, you mentioned, she really does go to bat for her clients and wants to see them have great experiences. She really cares. She's not just showing up to collect the check. She's there to help people, and she does it with a smile on her face, just like yourself. And it's no wonder that the two of you work as well together as you do. And thank you, Sierra White, for being awesome. We'll be sure we let her know her name was dropped on this podcast. Okay, well, hey, we're nearing the end of our time together, but I think some of the most valuable information that you can find on the CirrusNet podcast is towards the end, especially for newer CirrusNet members that are listening or people considering getting involved in CirrusNet or any type of a referral organization. What advice? Like you've seen a lot of people come and go, you've seen some people stay for a long time. What kind of advice would you have for a new member to try to help them have that great first year experience?
Well, I think they have to be willing to share not only what's happening in their business so that the other members, can see how they can best plug in to help and assist that new member along the way. And so you have to be willing to be able to describe what it is that you do. How does your business work? How do you run it as a person? And then if it's, some type of a trade or a service, oftentimes there'll be someone in the room who knows someone or may need that service or that skill themselves. And I think that that's how the ball starts rolling. but the person coming in really has to be able to plug in, and they need to listen to the other members because they themselves may be able to see some connection. So pay attention to what each member is saying when they have their member moments and see how can you best support them, and then be a good member and make sure that you share enough about your business so that people can refer to you easily.
Yeah, that's great advice. We've got a lot of opportunity to learn from each other. And, with the new members, in addition to maybe, getting all those minutes, there could be a little bit of a feeling of overwhelm as well, too. All these, who is that that just said that? What, trying to keep track of it all. Ultimately, you find your pace and you're able to do it in a way that makes sense. But, in addition to that, I think too, those trust builders and kind of being active. And it's very interesting to me. Sometimes we have visitors that come and visit our teams, and you are also one of maybe the top two or three people on that team that reach out to visitors, or I'll ask, hey, would you mind connecting with a visitor so you can also share your experience? Because a lot of times when people come and visit the team, it's either me and the person that referred them to the team that might be on the Zoom screen that they recognize. But a lot of times it's just me. Like that, we just had a commercial real estate agent visit that team, and he found me. He wasn't referred to me. Well, actually, he was referred to me, but not from a Caerusnet person. So, anyways, the long story short, is that you also reach out to these people. I assume that most people are going to these to not just deepen their connections, but also meet new people. And when you can be one of those first people to break bread with somebody else and get a sense of who they are and share your experience, they appreciate that, and they see a member who's willing to take some time to get to know them. And if everybody thinks you're too busy for them, they're probably going to think you're too busy for referrals too, right?
Hmm. Well, here's something that I just did yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday, and Sunday is typically open houses. Well, I do open houses in Ann Arbor, but you know what? I'm away from home now. And I thought, what better way? Because our company, again, the Charles Reinhart Company, is part of the leading real estate companies of the world. And so we partner with other businesses that are like the Charles Reinhart Company. And so I knew who those partners were, and I sought them out at yesterday's open houses. And I went and I said, you know what? We are linked through this organization, and I like being a referral partner. So here, please take my card and let me have yours. And when that opportunity comes that I have somebody for here, or you have somebody for Ann Arbor, we may be able to transact some business together. And they were so kind and so friendly. I met four different agents yesterday.
Yeah. And that's wonderful. That's the kind of activity that you need to do to stay ahead of the pack and have collaborative relationships so you can handle your client situations in just about any circumstance. So, well, Barbara Zinser, thank you so much for sharing your Caerusnet journey and story with us on the Caerusnet podcast. I know that Stacy Freisinger on our team is working really hard to be the MVP in 2025. So we'll see if we've got 4 years in a row on your calendar next year, or if we're going to have a new MVP. But either way, you always approach life like you're an MVP. Barbara Zinser, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it.